Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and check this out. Here I am sitting on my organ bench playing my organ pedal. Yes, I have finally picked up the pedal board that belongs to my Hauptwerk project, and I think I'm pleasantly surprised. Einen wunderschönen guten Tag allerseits. Wir machen wieder Deutsch und Englisch gleichzeitig, einfach weil wir nicht mehr zu zeigen haben momentan. Aber guckt mal, mein Pedal ist endlich hier. Meine Frau und ich haben das gestern abgeholt und ich bin sehr positiv überrascht. Also erstens, dass es perfekt passt zur Orgelbank, also von der Größe her. Von der Farbe her, das ist mir egal, weil es wird alles lackiert. Aber hier ist es und es scheint zu funktionieren, auf jeden Fall mechanisch. Und die Frage ist natürlich, wie wir das elektronisch jetzt hinkriegen. So, I'm quite pleased that everything is here. It fits perfectly, maybe not color-wise, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to have it all repainted anyway to match the rest of the console. More on that in a minute. And yeah, all I need to work out now is how to get it to fit electronically. That's going to be the difficult part. The organ came, or the organ pedal board, sorry, came with a very old-fashioned, you might recognize, if you're not an organ nut, you might recognize this from old printers. It's an old parallel port, basically. And organ electronics have been using things like this for years. A Centronics plug, basically, a Centronics port. And thankfully, it came with both halves of the Centronics electronics. So I've got the plug that comes from the pedal board, and then I have the sort of the receptacle for it, and all the associated wiring. The question is, of course, how do I get this connected to my MIDI electronics that I got from Nico in Holland? So that's going to be the next project. So, wie ihr seht, habe ich Gott sei Dank beide elektronische Teile von dem Pedal. Das ist ein uraltes, ja, was ist das? Centronics oder Parallelstecker, wie man damals an den alten Druckern hatte. Und wie gesagt, Gott sei Dank habe ich beide Hälfte davon, also männlich und weiblich. Und das ist auch, Gott sei Dank, gut durchnummeriert, was ist und so weiter. Und alles, was ich jetzt natürlich machen muss, ich muss das durchtesten und gucken, dass die Verbindungen tatsächlich noch in Ordnung sind. Tja, und das muss dann irgendwie übersetzt werden, damit es mit meiner MIDI-Elektronik, was ich von Nico in Holland gekauft habe, damit es dazu passt. Und dann haben wir hoffentlich eine funktionierende, oder da haben wir funktionierende MIDI-Teile für alles, für die Orgel. Ja, das ist die Idee. So the big question is, how do I get this to connect to the MIDI coding that we need for Nico's electronics? So now I could show you a close-up picture of this. I took some pictures of this. So we have a close-up of the plug. It's a 30-note pedal board, so it's bottom C to top F. I don't have the two notes at the top, the F sharp and the G, but you very rarely need those anyway in most organ music. And to be honest, as this was a gifted pedal board, I'm not too worried about it. Now, something that is rather good is, I don't know if you can hear this, apart from the dog barking in the background, you can hear the switches. Now, this pedal board has been part of an electrified organ before, which is of course rather good. Now, under each of the pedal keys, there are tiny little sort of like micro switches almost, and you can hear those closing and opening. Now, I've tested all 30 of them and they all work mechanically, and I just have to get hold of a multimeter now so I can test them electrically. But here's the thing, they are of course just wired one-to-one to this plug. Now a parallel plug, a Centronics plug, has, I think, is it 32 or 36 connections? More than you need for this anyway, but that's fine because we're going to need to get power in here somehow. So each note has its own connection on this on the plug. So it goes from bottom C on pin number 1, which I'm assuming is the top pin in this corner here. They've marked it rather nicely, and the first few pins, go all the way there to D1 and then D sharp up to pin number 30 with top F. And obviously the same on this side. So I will have to check that all these wires and connections are still complete so that I can at least use this. If not, I'll obviously have to dismantle all the wiring and rewire it. I'm kind of hoping that I don't have to do that. That's going to be a hell of a job. So, wie gesagt, wir haben hier 30 Tasten, also C bis F. Die oberen zwei fehlen. Es ist eine straight Pedalboard, also nicht AGO, also nicht nach amerikanischen Norm, sondern BDO. Und ja, gar kein Problem. Also sowas hat man normalerweise in Deutschland sowieso. Die meisten Orgeln, die ich spiele, haben auch so ein Pedalbrett. Also das ist nichts Neues. Die Elektronik aber, das macht mir, naja, Sorgen noch nicht, weil ich weiß noch nicht, was erwartet ist. Aber jede Taste hat natürlich eine einzelne Verbindung hier im Stecker. Also von C1 bis D und dann die zweite Hälfte auf der anderen Seite von der Taste da. So, das muss ich zuerst mal durchtesten. Ich glaube, ein Centronics oder ein Parallelport hat es 230 oder 36 Pins. Ich könnte das jetzt durchzählen, aber das mache ich nicht. Dauert zu lang. Und das heißt, ich habe noch ein paar frei für andere Coding, falls möglich. Ob das alles tatsächlich so funktioniert, das weiß ich leider noch nicht. Ich habe kein Multimeter zu Hause, habe ich jetzt gerade bei Amazon bestellt und das dürfte morgen schon da sein. Dann kann ich alles schön durchtesten und hoffen, dass alles noch schließt und öffnet, wie es soll. Dann bin ich zumindest einen Schritt weiter. Aber wie gesagt, wie das dann übersetzt werden kann, damit es mit unserer MIDI-Elektronik funktioniert, da habe ich wirklich absolut keine Ahnung. So, here in my hand I now have the circuitry, the MIDI circuitry that came as part of my package. And this is what's going to control the pedal. Now, the bus cable that connects everything, that obviously fits in this part here, which is fine. But the main part that then will go to the pedal. Now, this is a 16-pin electronic port. And obviously that has to then be sort of translated. So somehow I have to get these 30 pedal stops, these 30 pedal notes. They have to somehow be translated down into a MIDI signal. So, and I think the way MIDI signals work, now correct me if I'm wrong, is you have a signal that says, aha, I'm playing a C. So you basically you would have 12 signals. That would be a C all the way up to a B. It's the first 12. And then you have a second signal to tell you what octave it is. So this would be C, shall we say C1, and then the next C, it's still a C, it's a C signal, but now it's sending a signal 2, this is octave 2, and obviously the C up here, this would then be octave 3. So you have 12, and then 1, 2, 3, because there are 3 Cs all the way up to 3 Fs. There are only then 2 F sharps, and so on up to the top octave, yeah? I don't have the 32 note board, so that's 12 plus 3, so that's 15 pins there, and I'm guessing pin 16 would then be maybe for power if needed. So is that correct? I hope so. But then of course we have the connection, how do we connect this up? So yeah, maybe there's someone out there who knows what I need to do and can help. Okay, ich gebe euch ein Close-up davon. Das ist unsere MIDI-Verbindung zum Pedal. Und na gut, da sind 2 Stecker drauf. Ein Stecker ist natürlich für unser Basskabel. Das verbindet dann die ganzen Teile der Orgel zusammen zu den MIDI-Controller. Das ist klar, aber es gibt natürlich ein Connection hier zu den Pedalen mit 16 Pins. So, wie machen wir das denn? 16 Pin-Connector zu 30 Tasten. Also ich glaube, und korrigiert mich bitte, wenn ich falsch liege, aber MIDI-Signale werden anders geschickt als natürlich ganz normale elektronische, und das wird so übersetzt. Also die ersten 12 Signale oder 12 Signale sind die einzelnen Tasten C bis H, also das sind natürlich 12 Halbtonschritte C bis H, klar. Und dann kommt ein zweites Signal und sagt, welche Oktave ist das? Also erste Oktave C bis H, zweite Oktave C bis H, dritte Oktave C bis, in diesem Fall nur F, aber trotzdem, man braucht dann die 3 verschiedene Oktaven. Ja? Also an so einem Pedalbrett habe ich nur zweimal Fis, zweimal G und so weiter. Ja? Also erst ab C wieder haben wir 3. 1, 2, 3 mal C bis 3 mal F. Und das würde heißen, gehe ich davon aus, also wir haben die 12 ersten Pins, vielleicht für C bis H und dann 3 für die 3 Oktaven und dann hätten wir noch einen Pin übrig, weil hier 16 sind, wenn das dann vielleicht für, ich weiß nicht, Stromsignale oder irgendwas ist. Wie gesagt, ich kenne mich überhaupt nicht damit aus. Ich hoffe, ich liege ungefähr richtig dabei. Aber wie ich das zusammen verbinden soll, da habe ich absolut keine Ahnung. Vielleicht könnt ihr mir weiterhelfen. Other news this week, well, you don't see the manuals here at the moment. I've taken the manuals away. I've taken them to a joiner that we know, an old friend of my wife's, and he's going to take a look at it and see if he could sort of work out a nice way or a simple way of putting key cheeks and a little sort of case around the manuals together that firstly looks nice, secondly is of course stable, and thirdly does everything it needs to do. So the manuals are currently with him and they're going to be looked at. Now another thing we need to do is of course get this woodwork tarted up a bit. When I announced to my missus that we sort of started, we really needed to get going with a Hauptwerk project to get a new organ for home, the first thing she said was, well, show me what that would look like. So I dug around on the internet and showed her a few things and she said, good God, how ugly. So we thought, all right, so we have to work out a nice way of doing it. So we dug further and we found some rather nicer looking organ consoles that might be sort of suitable. So she said, okay, if you can build something like that, then we can build it. So I thought, all right, let's do it. So the idea is going to be, obviously the pedal keys will remain the same color. I think I'll get them, they look pretty good actually, but I'll maybe buff them up a little bit to make them look really rather good. Some of the sharps have lost a little bit of their black paint with feet rubbing on them there. So like I say, I might just spruce them up a little bit. But the frame of the pedalboard and this bench here, they're going to be completely redone. Now the bench itself, if I slide over a bit, I don't know if you can see this here, but there's been the sweaty butt of some organist sort of rubbing on that for the best part of 30, 40 years or however old this thing is. And the wood itself is in pretty good shape, but the lacquer on top is knackered lacquer, there you are. So that needs to be redone. And the whole thing is going to be done in a shiny black high gloss. That's the idea, make it look nice and shiny. So to match the sort of the style of other furniture we have at home. So that's going to be our next sort of on the side project, apart from all the electronics, making the pedalboard and the bench look good. Now the pedalboard itself is in very good condition woodwork-wise, so it's just going to be a simple matter of removing that top bar, maybe the back bar, getting them painted in black gloss, putting it all back together again, and that's fine. Don't forget the front part of the pedal will then be enclosed in its own little wooden box, because I have to somehow house the swell pedals and foot pistons that I'm going to install, so that's fine, that'll take care. But the bench needs a fair bit of work. It's all pitted and dented and whatever else, so that's going to be sanded back and then filled and then built up and up and up and up until we've got a beautifully not soft, that's not the word we're looking for, a beautifully smooth layer on top, so that can then be perfectly painted and then glossed over, and that will be rather beautiful. Now, because it's going to be a home organ, I will mainly be using this at home, certainly at the beginning. We can't go anywhere anyway, thanks to Corona. So at the beginning, it will be our home instrument. So I will probably put a sort of a nice comfortable bit of cushioning here in the middle, so I don't wear the butt out of any trousers I'm wearing while I'm playing. When you play the organ, you do tend to sort of slide around a bit, and any organist who wears a suit while playing will know that you end up with a shiny bum on your trousers. So yes, so we're not going to have that here, thank you very much. So that's the plan for the rest of this woodwork. And as and when we have an update on that, we will of course let you know. Okay, Update zum Holz sozusagen. Also das Pedalbrett an sich ist in sehr gutem Zustand, da müssen wir nicht wirklich viel machen, aber es muss umlackiert werden. Ja, warum? Die Bank natürlich auch. Als ich damals meiner Frau gesagt habe, wir basteln eine Orgel für zu Hause, hat sie gesagt, okay, dann zeig mir, wie sowas aussieht. Dann habe ich natürlich im Internet ein paar Spieltische gefunden und sie hat das alles angeschaut und dachte, mein Gott, wie hässlich, kann das nicht schön aussehen? Und dann haben wir weiter recherchiert und dann haben wir tatsächlich ein paar Sachen gefunden, die etwas entsprechender aussahen und sie hat gesagt, alles klar, da können wir sowas bauen, aber einziger Wunsch von ihr war schwarz Hochglanz. Es muss irgendwie zu den anderen Sachen, die wir zu Hause haben, passen. So, diese Holzteile hier sind natürlich gar nicht in schwarz Hochglanz, das heißt, das müssen wir mit denen machen. Das Pedal an sich, also die Tasten, lasse ich so wie die sind. Also die sind auch eigentlich in sehr gutem Zustand. Ich würde vielleicht nur die schwarzen Tasten etwas aufbessern. Ansonsten lasse ich die wie die sind. Die sehen sehr gut aus, aber der Rahmen von dem Pedal, das wird abgeschliffen und schwarz Hochglanz lackiert, damit es sehr schön aussieht. Und natürlich die Bank. Aber die Bank ist, wie sollen wir sagen, die Bank ist ziemlich kaputt. 30, 40 Jahre, ich weiß nicht genau, wie alt die Bank ist, sagen wir 40 Jahre. Hier in der Mitte, naja, verschwitzte Organistenärsche haben das dann schön hier so ablackiert über die Jahre. Und das muss natürlich alles wieder auf Vordermann schön gemacht werden. Das heißt, abgeschliffen, grundiert oder aufgefüllt wahrscheinlich, vollgespachtelt, dann grundiert und dann irgendwann mal schön schwarz Hochglanz lackiert. Die Bank braucht ordentlich Arbeit, ich werde einiges selber machen, das kriege ich hin, aber dann zum Lackieren selber bringe ich das wahrscheinlich auch zu einem befreundeten Lackierer. Er weiß aber noch nicht von seinem Glück. Naja, wie gesagt, das war quasi der einzige Wunsch von meiner Frau, es muss schön aussehen und da bin ich auch dabei eigentlich. Ich finde es auch, also wenn wir es selbst basteln, darf es nicht selbst gebastelt aussehen. Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Also es soll auch professionell aussehen. Und eines Tages werden wir vielleicht mit der Orgel auf Tour, naja, auf Reise gehen und die Orgel irgendwo vorstellen etc. pp. Und sollte natürlich schön dazu aussehen. Oder? Ja, das war es eigentlich. Mehr haben wir noch nicht zu berichten. Die weiteren Elektronikteile, die ich bestellt habe, die Pistons und, was habe ich auch noch bestellt? Ah genau, Pistons und Klinkestecker für die Schwellpedale, die habe ich noch nicht geliefert bekommen. Die sind jetzt seit über einer Woche bestellt und bezahlt, aber noch nicht geliefert. Jeder nutzt Corona momentan als Ausrede dafür. Ich glaube, es hat nichts mit den Firmen zu tun, sondern mit den Logistikern. Naja, die sind noch nicht da, das heißt, ich kann da nicht weiterarbeiten. Da wollte ich anfangen, das alles zusammen zu löten zum Beispiel, aber geht noch nicht. Wie gesagt, das war's. Mehr habe ich nicht zu berichten. Wir sehen uns nächstes Mal. Yeah, I don't think there's an awful lot much more that I can report at the moment. I think I mentioned last video, I ordered pistons and phono plugs for the phono jacks on the swell pedal, so I can start soldering all that together, or as the Americans would say, soldering. I don't know where they lost the L over the years, but never mind, we do say soldering. Anyway, I wanted to get all that done this week, or at least the basics of it done, so that I could sort of build everything up as soon as it was all here. But that's not going to work. Yeah, so yeah, there's nothing much more to report. Did I mention that we took the manuals to a joiner to get them looked at? He was going to build up some nice key cheeks. Yes, I did say that, didn't I? Sorry. That's the problem when you do these things in English and German. You forget what you say, and I never write notes when we make videos. It's all off the cuff. Organists should be able to improvise, so that's what this is all about. Yeah, like I said, the electronic parts that I ordered, they haven't arrived yet. I think most companies are using Corona as an excuse not to deliver things at the moment, but they've been ordered and paid for, so I think it's just there's just the carriers that haven't gotten around to delivering them yet, but they should be here within the next few days. Hopefully I will get my manuals back very soon so we can start putting all this together. Obviously the whole thing now needs a sort of a a support, like a desk or a table where everything sort of fits perfectly together. So now I have my pedal board and bench together, then I can start sort of measuring heights. Now, there are standardized measurements around the world. You have AGO for the American style of things, you have BDO for other European measurements and so on and so on. But, well, every human being is a different size and shape, and as this is going to be my organ console, then I want it to fit me. So, for example, the bench and the pedal board, they fit pretty good actually. I could do with the bench being a little bit higher, and it's not an adjustable bench, but, well, at least it needs to be higher and not lower, so that's quite simple. I just put some sort of rubbery feet on it and it will be as high as it needs to be. So that's perfect. And then of course the height of the manuals. Now obviously you need to be able to get your feet forwards for swell pedals and things. So there has to be some room to move, knees. So the table has to be just above that. But if you have 4 manuals, obviously the 4th manual can't be so far away you can't reach it. So I have to sort of work out the ergonomics of all of that and find a sort of a level surface that is then big enough and the right shape to sort of hold all of these things and still give me the free knee room that I need. So that's the next thing. But obviously for that I have to have everything here so I can start sort of, you know, feeling around. I'm a strange shape. Most people are strange shapes. If you go and buy clothes in normal shops, you will always normally have to get them sort of refitted. I'm talking about things like suits and things. A pair of jeans and a jumper, that doesn't matter. But if you buy a suit, you very rarely find a suit that fits you perfectly from the rail. So yeah, now I have quite long legs, rather long arms and quite a short body. So obviously my organ then has to sort of fit me, yeah? We'll have to work that out as time comes. I think that's about it for today. There's no more news for you, no more positive news. I haven't done anything regarding software yet, sorted that out. I'm still sort of playing around with the test version I have of Hauptwerk there, just to see what, you know, basics that it can do. It seems to be an incredibly complicated piece of software, but I think once you get used to it, once you know exactly what it can do, that's a very good thing. So that will take some time, and I already have a lot of people online who are helping me out with those things. And there is one guy I would like to mention in particular. Earlier in the week I put up a community post and I mentioned this guy and his channel and said if you haven't checked out his channel and subscribed to him yet, then you're missing out. It's a young chap based over in Ohio in the USA. His name is Dr. Jeremiah Martin, and his channel is Jerry Martin. That's his street name, shall we say, Jerry Martin. And he's a medical doctor, but he's a rather splendid organist in his spare time. He calls himself an amateur organist, but he's pretty professional as far as I'm concerned. And he's very, very knowledgeable about all things organic, especially sort of unknown composers from the past, which is rather wonderful. And I've been following Jerry for a very long time, and I think you should be too. Jerry posts a lot of content from his own Hauptwerk setup that he has at home, and the sound quality is of course very good. And he really does know what he's doing, especially when it comes to Hauptwerk itself. So Jerry and I have been sort of talking back and forth over the past few weeks about the software itself. So I'm rather excited by that. So I'm going to give Jerry a bit of a plug here as well. Go and check out his channel. Hit the subscribe button. He needs the support and he deserves the support. So go check him out. All right, I think that's enough for today. Thank you for bearing with me. It's just a chit-chat video today. Nothing else to report. Sorry about that. But like I say, we'll be back very soon with slightly more exciting news and hopefully the first sounds from the raw version of the new console. I am very much looking forward to that. I'm very excited by that. Yeah, we're getting there, slowly but surely. See you next time. Bye-bye.